Yeah.
Okay, we're live.
Cool. Hello.
Hi, Kyle. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good. SB, how are you?
Good, good. I feel like this is gonna be so fun.
Oh, it always is. And now it's just like official. So,
But I'd love if you could start off by introducing yourself and or what aspects you would like to highlight about your business.
sure. My name is Kel Grant. I am a videographer and video strategist. I own a video production company called Arbez Films. Little fun fact, Arbez Films is actually derived from zebra spelled backwards because as you can see, zebras are kind of my thing and my spirit animal. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. But at Arbez Films, we specialize in short form content, and I help BIPOC small business owners solve all of their business objectives with the power of video. Video is a tool that is so underutilized. I think a lot of small business owners just think, oh, this is just specifically for organic social media or paid advertisements, but video can solve so many problems and it help you achieve so many goals in your business on the internal side and externally for the clients that you serve. So I look to partner with businesses as opposed to other videographers who may just come in and kind of do one-off gigs and then you have to hire another videographer. I find that by partnering and collaborating with my clients, it allows them to have a go-to video person that's almost an extension of their team. So instead of kind of going to multiple different sources, they have brand consistency and someone who's invested in their company and not just interested in coming and filming one, aspect of their business and then moving on to the next gig. So that was a very long-winded way to say I am the go-to video strategist for BIPOC small business owners.
No, I love that. The zebra fact you have to put in there every time. Like,
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I met with a client yesterday and I even showed them my tattoo because I have a zebra hamsa here. And I rolled up my sleeve and I showed them. And then I explained to him, they were like, I had no idea why you were rolling up your sleeve. So I have to adjust the order in which I introduce it. But it is a fun fact. And I think once people know it, they're like, ah, zebra
yeah,
spelled backwards,
yeah,
Arbez. Got it.
yeah. No, I really love that. And for context, this table talk is really to get to know small business owners, but also to really like shed light on the obstacles that we have to overcome every single day. Sometimes obstacles are really great and get us to where we need to be, but sometimes obstacles can seem super tedious and like just like overwhelming with all of the other stuff that you have to balance as a small business owner. Um,
Right.
and you, my friend, is you were the one of the first ones I wanted to highlight because I mean, fun fact, we've actually met in person, which is more
Yes. Yeah.
say for like a lot of other people we've met through different communities. So I just feel really lucky that like we have that bond like virtually, but also, I mean, we went to the zoo, like there was
I
so many
stay.
things.
The funniest thing about that, SB, is when I explained to my fiance, hey, I met this girl online where we become friends. I'm gonna go stay at her house in Tampa for a week. And he was like, should I like put a tracker on your phone? Are you sure? Should I go with you? Like it was almost like a Dateline situation, but we had a great time and it's so I feel so blessed that I'm able to build such a strong community that started virtually. And you and I live in two different places, but getting that opportunity to meet in person, like I just feel like it solidified our friendship and our partnership so much that yeah, now I just like I saw you. When did I travel out there? Maybe earlier this year?
Um, yeah, I think it was like I want to say it was like March or
Something like that. But even then, we only spent a little bit of time together considering, but it feels I have so many days where I'm like, oh, I miss just hanging out with SB or like the
well,
other day.
the post where yeah, the other
Yeah.
day where you were listening to that country song, it like instantly took me back to that car ride. Yeah.
Ah, so good, so
Okay.
good.
But you're like you were saying, like, who knew? I mean, obviously, the pandemic kind of forced people to just kind of try to find communities online versus like in person. But
Yeah.
still, I feel like even before then, it's a tough hurdle to overcome as an entrepreneur. And I wish that someone had told me that from the very beginning when I started, just like how lonely it can get and how you can internalize so many different like obstacles and like hurdles that you're going through because you feel like no one else in the world is doing or is going through the same thing, but it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just so important because if it wasn't for Jefas Juntas, shout out to Mari, and some of the other communities that I've been able to be a part of, I feel like it would have been so much harder to in those moments of like difficulty when I know things aren't going my way or I know things are taking a lot longer to happen for me or I'm struggling with content on my own social media, like so many different layers to it. Like it would have been a lot harder if I had not had that in mind of just all of these wonderful motivated and like entrepreneurial spirits out there, especially within the Latina community that are trying to do the same thing every day.
Absolutely. I stand by the fact that investing in community and networking is the single most important step I've taken for my business.
Mhm.
It's elevated every single thing that I do. I'm the type of person that I don't have a lot of discipline, and especially when you're following your dreams, it can be super scary. And as someone who isn't super disciplined, I was self-sabotaging all the time.
Mhm.
I would really talk myself out of pursuing this thing that I always kept getting called back to. So when I found Jefas Juntas, for example, I was like, oh, wow, other people, like you said, struggle with these same things. And also now I have like an accountability buddy almost. And I find that now I've almost, because I've been part of a lot of these communities for about a year now, and I am so much more confident in stepping into my business and owning that title and owning, yes, my name is Kel, and I do own a video production company, and I can help you with your business. The other thing that I really appreciated about a lot of the communities that I've joined is the authenticity and the vulnerability. A lot of times online, we see these perfectly curated social media feeds of these super successful business owners. And when I first started out, I had such like imposter syndrome and would feel so bad about myself because I'm, oh, they're posting, they have another client. I don't have any clients. I'm still doing work for my mom's friend. All the clients I know, they're recommendations and I'm doing them for super cheap. And, I didn't sell out my offer. I don't even have an offer. All of these thoughts run through your head. But then when you actually get to know the people behind the posts, it's like, oh no, you're seeing this, but this is the journey. It looks a lot more like this, which
Yeah.
I can definitely appreciate. It's something that I try to lead with in my content is sharing, yes, I am an expert in my field. I worked really hard to get to where I am now, but I also still don't know what the fuck I'm doing sometimes. And I rely on community to get me there.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And I feel like one of the things you said of like comparing yourself, especially to people on social media, is such a like that within itself can be its own hurdle because
Yeah.
you're comparing your timeline as a small business owner to someone else's timeline, but that's like 1% of what they're showing you. Like even that I think about that all the time, even when I'm posting on social media, I'm like, dang, like I really want to like not just showcase the like pretty coffee shops that I'm in.
Yeah.
The reality of small business owner, like being an entrepreneur, is that like there's so much more behind the scenes, but you can't even put that together or package it up in one thing because there's just so many layers to it. And I feel like the comparing on social media the social media part is a big one because it's just it can get overwhelming.
Absolutely.
But it's like having these conversations or having conversations with other small business owners that are not just surface level that really peel back like the layers of entrepreneurship because there's so many.
Oh, absolutely. And something that really humbled me the other day was, and kind of like you said, you can't compare your day one to
Mhm.
someone's year three. Like everybody's timelines are so different. And, we were sharing in the Jefas Juntas group chat the other day. Sometimes we just share content to get feedback. And someone had shared, oh, guys, I posted this reel and only 40 people liked it. And someone who was really new in their business messaged back and was like, well, if you think about it, like if you had 40 people in a room, cheering you on or supporting what you did, that's a lot of people. And we all kind of chimed in and we're like, actually, we love that perspective. And it's something that sometimes you can lose sight of when you're scaling, or when your content picks up and you're used to maybe getting 100 likes and then you only get 40, or even then you only get 5. You have to consider that behind those likes and those vanity metrics are actual people. And when you zoom out, you can say, hey, one person took the time out of their day amongst all the other content that they're bombarded with and consuming on a daily basis to like something that I did, and it impacted them enough to do that. So I try to humble myself and think about that sometimes when I get caught up in the comparison game.
Yeah, no, I think that that's super helpful. And that shift in perspective is oftentimes what we need, but
Yeah.
not everyone has, again, that community. And that within itself takes vulnerability, because you're just like being open about the insecurity of something not performing well on social media. And that's why I often tell my clients, like, it is more about making an impact. Like, even though,
Yeah.
yes, numbers are out there tracking everything, like, at the end of the day, like, someone's going to resonate with you because of the product, like what you're serving, like the product and what its purpose is and how it's going to help people, or the service
Yeah.
and what its purpose is and how it's going to help people, or you and who you are and how you are going to help people. Like, that's going to be the big thing. It's community at the end of the day. Everybody wants to connect with you, which again, it's because there's a person behind it. It's not just like a bot or AI, even though that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you mind if I go into that real quick?
No, no, please.
So something that we just discussed this offline, but I think it's important to bring to the table here
Yeah.
is, I've had clients come to me and say, Kel, I want to hire you because I need content. And I usually try to peel back the layers of that. It's like, because, nobody needs content. If these social media platforms didn't exist, you wouldn't just be making content for content's sake.
Yeah.
What you need is connection. What you need is community. What you need is to demonstrate the value that you bring. If you're just interested in content, anybody can do that with the tools that are available to us today. You can
Yeah.
pop into Canva with all the AI tools. You can create a whole month or a whole quarter's worth of content in not a lot of time. But with my clients, I approach it with a lot more intentionality, and we build out content pillars. Oh, sorry, tap the mic there. We build out content pillars that are aligned with specific goals. And you have agency experience, as do I. A lot of the bigger corporate clients that we may work with are just like, I just want to see this many likes that turns into this many sales. And it takes a lot of the personality and the humanness out of it, which is why I honestly had such a pivot in my business, moving away from more corporate or more agency work, because I wanted to help small businesses, because I think setting up a good relationship with content creation is really important at the start. Because let's be honest, a lot of business owners, when they're just starting out, are DIYing it. I did it myself. I wish I could show you the logo that I made in the beginning. Of course, it was a zebra, but it was like, it's just, before I was able to invest in a designer and use, professional services to design the brand that I wanted, I was doing everything myself.
Mhm.
And that is a really important milestone and a step on the journey for an entrepreneur, is to go through the growing pains, to go through the growing pains, and to do it there. I'm going to start over. It's
It's all right.
okay.
It's part of the growing phase.
Yeah, it's a really important step in the process of being an entrepreneur, is to go through those growing pains of doing it yourself in the beginning. But I find that shifting my client's mindset on what the objective is behind creating content, I think really helps them be less intimidated by it, and also understand that they don't just have to throw a bunch of content at the wall and see what sticks. They can do so with intentionality. I personally try to be proud of every single video that I put out on my social media accounts. Sometimes it's not in the 4K quality with my fancy cameras. Sometimes it's just with the front camera on my crappy Android phone. But it's the message behind it and the way that I'm connecting with my audience and my community that really matters to me. And of course, there's the right tools for the job that can help enhance your message. But I find that shifting your perspective about the reason you're creating content is really helpful in reaching your goals quicker. And I think that that's what the agency life didn't really provide for me.
I feel like it's so resonating, or it's going to resonate with a lot of people because it's so true. One of the things I wanted to ask you kind of along those lines is like when you're having a bad day with your business, or like you're struggling because of something that came up, whether it's you didn't get a client or like you feel like defeated because of other things going on, like what do you feel? Is there like a routine that you do? Is there like something that helps you kind of get out of the funk, or like what have you like felt has worked for you in the past as an entrepreneur?
That's twofold for me. One is an affirmation that I've been saying to myself a lot, which is I welcome abundance and opportunity into my life. And when I start to embody that and operate with that mindset, I understand that if I get rejected from something or that something doesn't work out, that it wasn't meant to work out, and
Mm-hmm.
that whatever's meant for me will come to me. That's not to say that rejection still isn't disappointing or upsetting, and I might get down a little bit. And in those moments, the second part of this is I reach out to my community and I rely on my community and just saying, hey guys, I had this great opportunity and it fell through for, whatever reason, whether it was my fault or it was on the client, it didn't work out. And I find that the small business community, or at least the communities that I've been so fortunate enough to be a part of, are so validating. And they're like, hey, that totally sucks. And hearing that, like, yeah, it does suck. It's okay to be a successful business owner and still have moments that just plain suck. And then I find that my community, aside from giving validation, will also go a step further and say, hey, thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable. That actually happened to me just last week. Or, oh, this reminds me of something that I went through at the beginning of my business when
Yeah.
I had this big client. So kind of sharing in that vulnerability with community has been really helpful for me. But the last thing I'll say is, for me, I can't let myself get in my own way too much, because I've been through seasons of self-sabotage and it's done nothing for me or my mental health or my business. So I know that if something doesn't work out, it wasn't meant to work out, and I still have to keep doing the work. There is no shortcut to doing the work. I still have to, do all of the business admin things that I hate doing. Still have to go, and plan for all of these shoots that I still have, because, even if you have 5 rejections in 1 week, you still have that one client that believes in you that you're working with. Or even if they're not a client, maybe you have that one friend or one parent or one family member that still believes in you and your dream. And you owe it not only to yourself, but to that person to keep pushing and to keep moving on. Mhm.
But make sure you're validating that this is just like one step or one hurdle to get you to where you need to be. And I feel like the more people you surround yourself with that are open to being vulnerable, or that are open to like talking about some of the hurdles, or expressing the frustrations, or not just painting rainbows and butterflies of being an
Right.
entrepreneur, the more it really humanizes every single component of it, to a certain extent. I feel like the only other, or one of the other things that I kind of want to end off with is, if you could say one thing that you're struggling with like right now as an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
because I think that one of the things that or I want these table talks to bring out is that obviously there are so many amazing things of being an entrepreneur, but there are so many hurdles as well. So like if there's a specific moment or specific situation that happened recently, or something that you can say, hey, like this is what I'm struggling with right now as an entrepreneur, what would that be? And then like what plan, or what do you feel like you're going to do to help you move forward, if you've thought about it?
Yeah. So the thing that I'm struggling with most right now, and I'm sure a lot of other small business owners and entrepreneurs can relate, is pricing my services. I understand the value of my work, and the value that I bring to my clients. And I have a price that I think that aligns with that. But because of the community I'm servicing, right, the BIPOC small business owner community, I find that I've had to resist the urge of discounting my services just for the sake of helping somebody who I'm really passionate about helping. At the end of the day, even when I haven't had the money, if I really truly believed in a service or I knew it was best for my business or for where I was in my life at that point in time, I bit the bullet. I moved some funds around. Maybe I asked for favors from family and friends, and I made it happen. And I also try to be as accommodating as I can by providing, payment plans and things of that nature. But you do yourself and your client a disservice if you discount your services so much, because then it changes your approach to the work, right? The last thing I want to do is feel devalued by a client or somebody that I'm trying to help. And there's ways to meet clients where they are without giving away your secret sauce for free, so to speak, or without, doing all of this work for little to no compensation. The plan that I have for that, I'm actually working with a business coach who, let me tell you, is expensive.
Wait, that was she the one, the workshop that you had sent me at
Yes,
this point? Okay, yeah.
Wendy Ramirez. She's a pretty penny, but I believe in her services and I know that she's worth it. And I'm working with her to craft my offers. And, you know, there were so many, she really opened me up to thinking about, and Marissa Lima too, from My Copy Crush, really opened me up to thinking about, when I did some market research, that there's not one way to service my clients,
Mm.
right? If they can't afford my done for you video production services, maybe there's, an educational tool that I can create, a course, a webinar, a PDF printout, a YouTube video, whatever it is, that's more of a DIY route, that is a less intimidating budget for someone who's starting out. Don't, discount your services or devalue your services. You just have to get creative in trying to solve, folks' problems with different service offerings. So diversifying your offerings and your services to your potential dream clients is something that prevents you from burnout also, but prevents you from working for less than you know that you're valued. Because those that believe in you truly will find a way to pay or to work with you. And you should honestly be giving so much value for free away on your social media platforms and via your communities, that when folks do have the buying power or are ready to make the decision to invest in services for themselves, you're the first person that they think of and they don't have any questions about doing it. I
Yeah.
know I rambled, girl. I rambled. But did I answer your question?
No, you dropped some gems.
You're gonna
Like,
have to do some editing.
no. Um, the tip that I think has helped me with pricing, because that's like a huge concept
Yeah.
and also like it's one thing that's hard to like step outside of who you are and the
Yeah.
services that you provide and look at it from like an overview perspective.
Yeah.
It's a little bit tougher. But one thing that's helped me is talking to other people about it. But again, it goes back, like you have to be vulnerable about talking about what your services are worth and what you think that your services are worth and the value you're providing. And I feel like not a lot of people often like to have those conversations because it's about money. And I think that that within itself is a whole, there's limiting beliefs about money and what you're
Yeah.
worth, what your value's worth. So yeah, I think that first of all, I can't wait to hear about how the workshop goes. But second of all, like talking to someone and vocalizing the thoughts and ideas that you have and running it by family, running it by friends, and being like, hey, this is what I would like. I'm thinking about valuing myself for, like, my services would be XYZ. Do
Yeah.
you see someone that would potentially need those services? And would that be a price that you think that they'll be willing to pay? Like, talk to people, kind of like get, and it also like helps you practice talking about your services and like talking about your
Yeah.
offerings and the different things that you're going to be able to accommodate to people, etc. So yeah, No, I love that, and I think it's a perfect note to end on, because
Great.
I want to be mindful of the time. I appreciate you being here and chatting with me on my first small biz table talk.
Yay.
Um,